Hello again, third grade, and welcome to lesson 10-4. In this lesson, we're going to focus on problem solving and looking for and using structure and patterns that we see to help us complete our multiplication. Let's go ahead and watch our short lesson video here, and then we will jump into our notes and our guided practice together.
How can you use structure to multiply with multiples of 10? Think about this question during the lesson. Find the missing products in the multiplication table. Think, how can I make use of structure to solve this problem? I can look for patterns to help solve a problem. Describe the patterns that I find. Identify how numbers are organized. You can look for relationships in the multiplication table. You can look to see how the products across a row relate to one another and how the products down a column relate to one another. What pattern do you see looking down the first column? What do you think the pattern will be across the top row? In the first column, the numbers increase by the number at the top of the column.
The numbers in the first column increase by 10.
In the top row, the numbers increase by the value in the tens column. Here's my thinking. As I move down the columns, the numbers increase by the value of the column. As I move across the rows, the numbers increase by the value in the 10 column. I used patterns I know for multiplying by multiples of 10. Look at this other multiplication table. How are these two multiplication tables different? One difference is all of the factors across the top row are multiples of 10. Now you know how to use structure to multiply with powers of 10.
Okay, so let's take a look at this multiplication table quickly. Now here, this is like any other multiplication table, but one of your factors are multiples of 10. So 4 times 10, 4 times 20, 4 times 30, and so on. So whenever you're looking for a missing number, you just you look at the space that it's in, you look at which column and which row that it's in, and those are the two numbers you're going to multiply. So for this one, for this 100, if this was still a missing space, I know I'd have to do 5 times 20. And I know I can use my basic fact, 5 times 2 is 10, times another group of 10 would make it 100. So use what you know of your basic facts, your multiplication facts, and how to use a multiplication table or chart like this one to help you fill in any missing numbers and find answers that you need. Now let's take a look at our notes. 10-4, look for and use structure. How can I use structure to multiply with multiples of 10? So here we're going to go over the same thing. We're going to look for patterns to help us solve, describe the patterns that we find, identify how those numbers are organized. We're going to use a multiplication table. You can look down the columns to see how those numbers change and look across the rows to see the pattern change that way as well. So here, 10, 20, 30, 40, we're moving groups of 10s over here, 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on, because these are all in the ones. Over here, I'm jumping by groups of whatever my first number is. So 20, 40, 60, 80. Same thing over here. I start with my 30, so 30, 60, 90, 120, and so on. Make sure you use your basic facts to help you fill in any missing numbers in a multiplication chart. If, for example, there's a missing number in the box connecting 3 and 50. So over here, if I have my 3 over here and my 50 over here, I would trace it across to find that box. First, I could find the product of 3 times 5, which is my basic fact, and then multiply that by that product by 10. So 3 times 5, this is the same property that we used in our previous lesson. We'll use the associative property. 3 times 50 is the same thing as saying 3 times 5 groups of 10. So I'll do the 3 times 5 first, which will give me 15, and then multiply it by a group of 10, which gives me 150. If, for example, I'm looking at the box for 4 and 70, I'm going to do my basic fact 4 times 7 tens. So 4 times 7 is 28 times a group of tens gives me 280. If I was doing 3 times 90, I would do 3 times 9 groups of tens. 3 times 9 is 27. So 3 times 9 tens is going to be 27 tens, which is also 270. Now for this next part, I asked you to find the missing products and fill in the chart. So we're going to use our basic facts and patterns to find and complete the multiplication chart carefully. So for number 1, I numbered these missing boxes. I was connecting the 2 and the 80. So I did the 2 times 8 first, which gave me 16. And then I added my 0 for my tens onto the end. So 2 times 80 was 160, because 2 times 8 groups of tens is 16 tens. 16 tens is 160. For my second box over here, I was connecting the 3 and the 50. So 3 times 5 was 15, and then I added my 0 on the end of it. My next one was 4 and 40. So 4 times 4 is 16, plus a group of tens, or multiplied times a group of tens is 16 tens, which is 160. For number 4, which is our box right over here, it's connecting the 5 and the 70. I know 5 times 7 is 35, so 5 times 70 is 350. Next, for box number 5, I'm connecting the 6 and the 30. So 6 times 3, I know gives me 18. 18 times a group of tens is 180. And then for box number 6, I was connecting the 6 and the 50. I know 6 times 5 is 30. 30 times 10 will give me 300. Now onto our guided practice. We have a story problem here, and then we have to fill in the information. It says Sean is making muffins. He's choosing to make either 7 or 8 batches. He is also choosing whether to use 40, 50, 60, or 70 raisins for each batch. Sean starts this table to show the total number of raisins he will need for each choice. So here you can see he's either doing 7 or 8 batches. We listed both of those on one side. And then either 40, 50, 60, or 70 raisins. So these are going to be our factors. These are going to be the numbers we multiply to find our product. Now to find the 7 times 40, that's the same thing as 7 times 4 groups of tens. So I did the 7 times 4 first, which gave me 28 times a group of 10, which is 280. So that's how we filled in the first box. The next one is 7 times 50. 7 times 50 is the same thing as saying 7 times 5 tens. 7 times 5 is 35 times a group of 10 gave me 350. Next over here, we had 7 times 70. Now I know that 7 times 70 is the same thing as saying 7 times 7 tens. 7 times 7 is 49 times a group of tens is 490. And then for our 8 batches, 8 times 50, I know that 8 times 5 is 40. So 8 times 50 is going to be 400. So 8 times 5 is 40. 40 times a group of 10 is 400. Next, we had 8 times 60. So I did the 8 times 6 first, which gave me 48 times a group of 10, gave me 480. And then our last one was 8 times 70. So I did the 8 times the 7 first, which gave me 56 times a group of 10 was 560. And then our last question says, if he used 480 raisins, we can figure out that he had made 8 batches with 60 raisins in each batch. So basically, they gave you your product and they asked you here to find the factors. So the factors for 480 in this particular table were 8 and 60. That's it for this lesson. Just remember to use your basic facts. Remember how to use your multiplication tables. Work slowly and check your work. And if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.